Welcome, everyone. We're here at the Hayek podcast. We're in Brasilia, and we have a very special guest today coming all the way from Alfred, New York, which is Melissa Holland. Welcome, Melissa.
Very nice to be here. Thank you very much.
And we're here today to talk about the partnership that Hayek has just closed with Alfred State University of New York. And just to give you some background, we're inaugurating the program where students spend 2 years in Brasilia studying for their college degree, and they get an equivalent to an associate's degree. In Brazil, it's a technological degree, and then they transfer to United States to finish their bachelor's degree. And we're partnering for business and computer science. And Alfred is one of our great partners there. They're in the state of New York. And I'll let now Melissa talk a little bit about the university. So what is it like, Melissa? What is Alfred? Tell us about Alfred.
Okay, so Alfred is a small institution. It's a part of the State University of New York system, which, as I've mentioned to you in the past, is the system of schools throughout the state of New York. There's many campuses in that system. There's 64 campuses in the SUNY system. 7 of those campuses are colleges of technology, and that's what Alfred State is. Alfred is a small rural community in, I would say, central to western New York, about 6.5 hours by car from New York City. And again, it's a small town, 3,500 students on our campus, and we focus specifically on the STEM fields, so science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. That's what we specialize in. And what else can I tell you about it?
Well, what year was it established? It's a very traditional university, right?
Yep. It was established in 1908 as an agricultural school. So we have our background, our beginnings in farming, actually. Alfred State still has a farm, a conventional and organic farm. So that's still a part of who we are. It has evolved over the years. It went from agricultural technology to just Alfred State technology, and then on to Alfred State College. So.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been there myself, and it was a delight to see. It always amazes me for coming from Brazil, in a town, a very small town. You have fantastic infrastructure in a very big university to our standards here in Brazil. And I got to meet some of the places there, like the College of Business and the College of Technology, especially the tech related courses. It was very impressive. And there was an episode that you mentioned, even that the students were doing a competition with other students from other universities like MIT, Harvard. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Our students were competing in a cybersecurity competition, essentially a hacking competition. And just to give you some background on that, Alfred State is strictly undergraduate. So our students are not in graduate programs. They're associate degrees and bachelor's degrees at Alfred. And in this hacking competition, they were in they were competing with schools like Harvard, MIT, RIT, big name technology schools that have graduate programs. So their teams consisted of graduate and undergraduate students, and we beat them. And I think that that's pretty impressive and speaks to the kind of results that Alfred State has to offer for students.
That's amazing. And can we get the logo of Alfred State on the board? There we go. So that's the logo of Alfred State University of New York. And what makes it special about Alfred State? Like, it's pretty impressive how a small university like Alfred State can beat students from MIT, Harvard, and all these prestigious schools that we can recognize in brands, right? When we think on top of our heads, United States. And what do you believe makes it so special? How was this possible about Alfred?
I think the experience that students get at Alfred is going to be the key piece to their success. I can start out by telling you that we have a 98% continuing education or employment statistic. And that's great. 98% of our students either are working in their field or are continuing on in education after 6 months of their graduation. But to me, the experience that they get while they're on campus, you met some of our faculty and staff.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to see that they care about not only their field, their specialty, but they care about our students. They want to make sure that our students, even though we're from a small town, they have big access. Okay. So, the guy that worked in cybersecurity when we had that competition I mentioned to you,
Yeah.
he used to work in cybersecurity at the White House. So we might be a small town, but we have big access. And I think that means a lot to our students. Some of that comes from the fact that we only have professionals that teach in our classrooms. We don't have teacher assistants or graduate assistants. We have professionals that have experience in their field in the classroom with our students. And I think that makes a big difference. Additionally, I think our size is our biggest advantage. It's not going to be a huge school. We have 3,500 students. Each program is going to be, a little bit smaller than that, obviously. The classroom size is 16 students. So if you're one of 16 in a classroom, you at some point are going to get one-on-one attention from your faculty member. And I think that's why our students are so successful.
It's the class size and the methodology probably that coming in, and also the practical experience that your professors have, right? It's very common that we see in universities, lecture-based classes and a lot of students in the same class. And sometimes even the professors are more focused on their research than actually teaching. And that's not the case in Alfred, right?
No, we are teaching because we want our students to be ready for the workforce. That is the goal of our education at Alfred. We want you to be successful in the field.
Amazing. And this gives for great employment opportunities for the students too, right? How does that work? Are there internship opportunities in the college?
They're not only our internship opportunities, they are mandatory in many of our programs. And it's internships, but there's also field experience. And I say that to mean our architecture students aren't necessarily working in an architecture firm while they're students. But what they are doing is they're visiting those firms. What they are doing is they're studying abroad in Italy for a semester to see the old architecture. What they are doing because of our location in the U.S. is they're seeing architectural works by the three most famous architects in our area, Richardson, Wright, and Sullivan. Our students have access to that. So that's what I call field experience. Internships, if you want to get a degree in business, it's required that you have an internship at Alfred. So project-based learning in the classroom, you're going to lab work. If you're in biological sciences, then you're going to work in the lab. If you're in business, you're going to do an internship. If you're in computer science, you're going to be in the lab or you're going to do an internship. So every single program that we offer has that not only option, but expectation. And we are able to provide that to students because we have a career development center. So students that are looking for an internship, they have somewhere to go to get some guidance and they can connect with employers in our area.
Amazing. So we're talking here about a situation where students are actually doing the internship inside the classrooms, and it's mandatory even in some cases. So they have to have practical experience while they're doing their university. And you said there's also support outside of the classroom to get the students to do the job market, right? To work in their curriculum. How does the Career Center work? How would that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we talked about internships, but if you're getting ready to graduate, obviously you're going to be excited. You want to go to work. And that can be a little bit scary for students at times. So our Career Development Center, they work with them right from the point of creating a resume. Okay, so they'll come in and there's workshops that you can attend, or you can sit down one-on-one with somebody from the Career Development Center, and they will work through your resume with you. They will help you practice for interviews. They'll do mock interviews, and they also will provide you with tips and tricks, help you with your language, all of that sort of stuff to get you prepared to get the job that you want. Then beyond that, they invite employers to campus. So we have a career fair. So you can just go down to the student union and you can meet with employers that are looking for you, right? And then again, they have connections with local businesses, local organizations that are looking for people. So you can go to the database that they offer. It's called JobLink, and just put in what the filters for what you're looking for. So they have all of that right there on campus.
Amazing. And for the people looking for a technical degree like computer science or engineering, is there good job opportunities?
there's more than good. There are excellent opportunities. And that's one of the great things about Alfred, something that I like to brag about. Many of our students have jobs before they're even graduated. And I think that that's awesome because we are in the technical fields. People are struggling, businesses are struggling to fill those positions. So they're coming to talk to our students before they're even graduated to make sure that they can secure one of our very talented graduates.
Wow, that's amazing. So the businesses are actually looking for you to get the students, to hire the students as fast as they can.
Yes.
That's amazing. And what is student life like in Alfred?
Again, I want to come back to our size because the student expectations of what it's going to be like in the U.S. can vary, right? Our village is small, but our village is very active. So it's great because you have Alfred State, which is on one side of the street, and across the street from us is another university called Alfred University. So we have around 7,000 students in our village. Everything that happens in the village is for students. And it's great because you have both the activities on our campus and the campus across the street from us. So maybe there's not anything happening, on our campus one night, but there's a big activity across the street. So concerts come to the campus, theatrical shows, plays, that sort of stuff. It's all happening right on our campuses. Of course, clubs and organizations have many events throughout the year. In fact, they're required to have events throughout each semester in order to be a recognized club and organization. Of course, sporting events. We're very big on sports up in the Northeast, and we love our especially American football, but we have 18 other options as well. So if you want to attend a game and watch some of your fellow students compete, there's lots of opportunities to do that. But moreover, we have something that we call the Western New York Wilds, and that's our area. Because we're not in a big city, we have hiking, we have biking, we have river rafting, we have downhill skiing, we have snowmobiling, we have sledding. So our students are active outside. In fact, you can even go to the horse farm just down the street and ride horses. So if you're into the wilds, we are the perfect location for that.
That's amazing. And also, if you have to be tolerant to the cold, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How's that like?
I think it depends on the student. I personally am a huge fan of the cooler weather. I like it. I don't like to sweat. But I think for students that are coming from outside of a snowy area, people that maybe have never seen snow, I think it can be really exciting, but it can also be intimidating. I like to think that snow makes us a hardy bunch because you have to be active. Otherwise, you're going to miss 4 months of the year because 4 months of the year is quite cold.
Yeah, for Brazilians trying to get out of their comfort zones, experience something different. I think it's a great way to experience something unique, right? And
Absolutely agree with you there.
And now for talking about international students, what's it like for an international student to study at Alfred?
We have a very diverse student body as it is. We have a large population of students from New York City. And if anybody's ever been to New York City, you probably know how diverse it is. So we have students from all over the globe that some are U.S. citizens and some are new immigrants. But the population is, again, very diverse. But for international students specifically coming to Alfred, I think what they can expect is really an authentic American experience, because where we are is what I like to refer to as real America. Okay, you're going to meet your friends and your families. You're going to get invited to go to holidays, maybe a Thanksgiving dinner. And if you get invited, definitely go to see an American Thanksgiving. But these are what that's the soul of America, right? We care about our families, we care about our communities, and that is all represented on our campus as well. So international students really get to see that. Civic engagement, it's a huge part of who we are at Alfred State. So beyond that, the international student experience, I think, at Alfred specifically, again, back to our size, is they're going to experience more support than they would at many other institutions because we're going to know who they are. We're going to know them by name. They're going to have opportunities to get work on campus. There's plenty of places for them to work if they'd like to have a job. Of course, more internships, more lab experience, all of that stuff. And I think their experience is going to be essentially what the American student experience is. But we do have some special supports in place as well.
Amazing. So the students can expect to have an authentic American experience
Correct.
in Alfred. And something that caught my attention when I visited Alfred was how friendly the people were there, at least at my experience. Is that the case in Alfred? Do you think it's different in that way?
I absolutely think that it's one of the best attributes of Alfred. I've worked at other institutions, and I can say to you wholeheartedly, without any doubt, that is one of the best things about Alfred. They're a caring community. They don't ask a question that they don't want an answer to. Oh, how you doing? No. How are you? How is your family? How are you doing in school? Do you need help? Do you need assistance? You want to come over and hang out? I mean, they're really, truly a tight-knit community. They know the people in their community, and they stand by each other. And I think that's what you mean by their friendliness.
Yes. And coming from an international student myself, when I lived in the United States, it's very important that you have that type of support when coming in, because students are away from their families, and it's in a different type of environment, totally outside of their culture. So it's something that's really helpful for international students to be in an environment like that. I
had a student that came to Alfred a month early. And you were there in the summer, so you saw just how quiet it can be in our small town when there's no students in session. And he came to my office, and he was quite upset. He says, "I'm not sure that this is for me. I don't know that I want to stay here." And I said, "Okay."
Where was he from?
He was from India. And I said to him, I understand what you're saying. I understand the experience that you're having right now. You're homesick. You don't see anybody else, here like you right now. And I said, just stick it out a couple more weeks. Okay. He did. He came to my office at the end of the semester, and he was giddy. He was absolutely delighted. He said he couldn't have been more happy that he stayed. He's made friends. He got a job. His experience was fantastic. He was so thankful that I talked him into staying, that he came back to my office to say thank you.
And that's because of the support that you have given him, and it completely changed his college experience.
Exactly.
And it could be a change for his life, right? Something that happened there, he could... be like the turning point for him to get a job or change his entire life because of that one moment that you had with him.
It was very special for me.
And that's the delight that we have working with education, right? We get these types of moments. And what about Brazil? Why is Alfred interested in receiving Brazilian students?
We are interested in receiving Brazilian students for several reasons. First, we want to diversify our student body, right? We want perspectives from all over the globe. So that means we want students from everywhere. Brazil specifically, as I had mentioned to you in conversation earlier, we used to work with the Brazilian government to take students that came in on scholarship. Mm-hmm. Those students made a mark on my faculty. My faculty loved having the Brazilian students in their class, and they want us to bring more Brazilians to campus.
Why is that? What's special about Brazilians?
I think the personalities, as we talked earlier about joy and how jovial your students are and how engaging they are, that all translates in the classroom, and our faculty really appreciated that. They make the classroom a more interesting place, more exciting place, not only for the other students in the classroom, but for the faculty members that are trying to teach. Mm-hmm. And so we had that experience early on in our international student recruitment initiatives, and our faculty have said, let's keep doing it.
Oh, that's great to hear. So Brazilians bring some different joy to the program.
And it doesn't hurt that most of the Brazilians I've met like sports, because most people on our campus are sports fans as well.
Are they good at soccer?
The Brazilians?
Yeah.
I don't think any of them played officially on our team, but they were killing it in all of the the club sports.
Nice. And what advice would you have for Brazilians who are looking to go to college in the United States?
I think the thing that's most important for any student that's looking to come to the U.S. is to find a good fit, to find not just the program that you're interested in, because you can get a good education in your program in many schools. There's more than 4,000 universities to choose from, or colleges and universities to choose from in the U.S. And you can find your program at more than one of those schools, but the experience you have is going to be different at each school. And so for Brazilians that are coming to the U.S., they have to understand that the experience is actually more than just what they learn in the classroom. It's important for them, for their personal growth and for their opportunities, that they get involved in things outside of the classroom. And each college and university is going to be able to offer you something different. And in Alfred, for us, it's our clubs and our organizations. It's the fact that we have all those connections with local businesses. We're very big on civic engagement. We have opportunities for students to volunteer and get involved in the community. And I think that those, again, are going to shape the student experience. And that's what you really want to be looking for if you're going to come to the U.S. is what is the experience going to be? Because your experience in New York is going to be very different from your experience in Kansas.
Yeah.
So,
And you were saying that the dean of the College of Business actually owns businesses, right?
correct. He had 6 of his own businesses. How he managed to do everything he did, I don't know. But he had 6 successful businesses at the same time that he was teaching.
So that's another testament to the fact that your professors are not only talking about business, they're actually doing business. And that's an amazing thing about Alfred. And tell us, what's the advantage that you see for students joining the 2+2 program from Hayek to Alfred?
I think probably the biggest is going to be the savings that you get. A U.S. education is not inexpensive, unfortunately, but it is important in growth and in opportunity growth. Our partnership with Hayek, I think, is going to be a great fit because of the way you guys are going to be teaching. That you've got kind of the hands-on, the activity-led focus. Yeah. And I think that that's going to be a great transition from Hayek to Alfred State. But you get to save, it's $31,000 per year at the 2-year level. So you're saving $62,000 by staying here and going to school at Hayek. It also gives you a bit of time to get used to the perspectives from professors from other locations. It also gets you used to a classroom taught in English. So it prepares you to come to the U.S. for your experience. But I think working with Hayek, if you start there, the biggest advantage is going to be the savings.
The cost savings. And plus, students are going to get a discount by coming through Hayek, right?
Correct.
Alfred.
Students coming through the dual admissions program with Hayek and Alfred are guaranteed some funding. So that is very helpful.
Amazing. Tell us a little bit about you. You're a senior international officer in Alfred, and you travel all around the world, right?
I've been to 70 countries so far. So I'm pretty proud of that.
And why did you join international education? What interests you in this field?
Actually, I studied abroad. I did my undergraduate study in Melbourne, Australia, and I did my internship for my graduate program in Dublin, Ireland. And if I'm being fair, I was too chicken to go somewhere where they spoke a different language, which I do regret a little bit now. I wish I would have done that myself. But the experience taught me more about myself than it ever taught me in the classroom. I didn't know how ignorant I was to the rest of the world until I did that travel and I got to meet people from all other places.
We start learning about how the differences about our own culture only when we go outside of it.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
I remember that one of the culture shocks that I got in the United States was that I realized that Americans don't eat chicken hearts.
No,
I know.
No, we don't.
I know you don't eat chicken hearts. And it's a very common dish in Brazil, right?
Yeah.
We love chicken hearts and we eat chicken hearts. And I was at a restaurant with a friend of mine and we went to a Brazilian restaurant. It was like 1 year into the United States already. And, let's have some chicken hearts. Like, oh, wow, you eat chicken hearts? So that's just one example of the things that you learn when you leave your country, right?
Absolutely. And I remember my first experience in Australia. I was 20. I had never really thought about the metric system versus the standard system.
Oh, right.
And I had traveled like a week's vacation here or there, but young, never really thought about it. And then all of a sudden I'm like, how much, what's the temperature?
So for the people listening to us now, it's the Fahrenheit versus the Celsius and the meters versus yards and inches, right? Yeah.
So just those little things. But other than that, I got into international education because like I said, I studied abroad. And I actually worked in hospitality and tourism before this for 15 years. And the market crashed in the US and things weren't going well. So I thought, well, what am I going to do now? And I actually went back to my alma mater, which is another SUNY school. And I spoke with my old professors. And they said, what are you interested in? I said, well, I'm interested in people and I'm interested in travel. And I was always good at school. I always enjoyed being on campus and education. I don't want to teach. You know, what are the possibilities for me? And they said administration. And so there was actually a program. So I went back to school and got my master's degree in higher education administration. And that is kind of how I knew that I only wanted to work international, because you meet more interesting people that way, I think. So I focused everything in my studies on doing the international piece. And when I started applying for jobs after I got my master's degree, I only applied for the international positions. I got hired at Alfred State for my very first higher education job, and that was in 2013. And so I started there as an admissions counselor, and I did international student recruitment and international application review. And so that was my first taste of it. I learned more than I can even explain to you in those first 5 years at Alfred State. Alfred State at that point decided that they were going to pull back on international and see about online. They were going to explore the online options that were happening. It was becoming more and more popular. I didn't want to do that. I said, it's international for me. It's not online. So I left Alfred State and I went to Buffalo State, which is, again, another SUNY school. But I worked with outgoing students. I was helping Americans have the same experience that I had on my study abroad. And that was a pretty amazing experience as well. And in that, I still had to manage those partnerships with international institutions, but from the lens, like similar to what you're doing, you'd be sending students to us. And then Alfred decided that they were going to refocus on international, that, you know, maybe they didn't want to stop engaging internationally and we should revive that. And I said, well, pick me. I'll help you. And so that's kind of where the last 11 years has taken me in terms of my education career.
Very interesting. And I think in higher education in general, like everywhere, there was some point where everyone had the feeling, but it didn't really happen, where everything seemed to be going online. Oh, the future is online. The future is online. But online education, you don't have the same type of experience, especially at the undergraduate level, where you're still in the phase of meeting people, making friends, you know, realizing what it is to live alone by yourself in a new place. And it's not quite the same experience, right? When you actually live somewhere else and have to interact with people that are different from you.
And I think that that's part of, you know, as I said, when I traveled the first time to Australia for my study abroad, I learned so much about myself. And some of the things I learned about myself came from the challenges of being in the new environment, of how do I start a bank account in Australia? You know, what's a queue? It's a line, you have to line up, right? Those types of things, having to go and get a cell phone plan. And it's not anything like the options at home. Having a flight delayed on the way there and nobody there to fix the problem for me. So those little small pieces of growth, which at the end will translate into creative thinking, critical thinking, problem solving.
And teamwork, because you learn how to manage people that are different from you, right? That you weren't used to before.
Right. And that translates to better for the businesses that want to hire you.
Oh, yeah.
The soft skills.
Yeah, and for you professionally and also personally, because you become a better person when you learn how to relate with people.
Correct.
So I like to say that international education is superior to to national education, right? If you compare everything, all else equal, if we have international education, it's a better type of education.
I tend to agree with you. Absolutely.
And what advice would you give to students, young people in general, that are starting off, 18-year-olds that are now thinking about what they want to do with their life? Nobody knows what they want to do. What advice would you give to young people?
Get involved. Try everything. If there's an opportunity in front of you and you're curious, try it. I don't think there's any reason to turn down opportunities if they're in front of you. And I think I've never regretted trying something. I have certainly regretted not trying. And I think that and this means taking a class that maybe you've never heard of, but it's an area that might have potential for you, or you're just curious. Getting involved in clubs and organizations on campus. Maybe you're a little bit shy, but you like basketball, but you're not sure you want to go. Do it. Go and meet the people that are playing and pick up a game of basketball. Theater, student administration, student government. These are all potential opportunities for you. And the more a student is involved, the better their experience will be. And it will open doors for them.
Mm-hmm. And in the future, the more they can relate to different things that they have done in the past to solve new problems or do different things, start a new business, who knows?
Correct.
Right? Mm-hmm. Was there anything else I should have asked you, but I didn't? Anything you want to mention?
I don't know that there's anything more to add that we haven't already went over. I do just want to reiterate that, Alfred State is that authentic American experience, and its value is the connections and the relationships that are going to be built by students, not only with other students and faculty, but our community as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Melissa, for our conversation today. I'm very excited about the partnership between Hayek and Alfred State. I think it's a great opportunity for Brazilian students to get to 2 years that they're getting in Brazil and then transfer to Alfred State and get that authentic American experience, and also qualify in a deep way for the American job market, because Alfred State has a lot to offer in terms of practical education that's job ready, right? Mm-hmm. So thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.